Hello learners, I welcome you all to the fourth segment of 56th lecture. In this segment, we will look at ICSID and mediating investment disputes. In fact, if you look at scholars like D. Polino and Caniza, they have referred to mediation as sleeping beauty, which has been awakened in the recent times. Sleeping beauty in the field of dispute resolution, awakened by in recent times by states adopting mediation for dispute resolution. So, in fact, I would say mediation has been used as dispute resolution for quite long. But the fact is, confidentiality is a very key factor in mediation. Therefore, because of confidentiality aspect of mediation, we don't see much literature recording the success stories of resolving disputes through mediation. I think that is where mediation has been not getting the fame that ideally it should get. But now that has changed. We can see that mediation is getting increasingly recognized for resolving international disputes itself. That's very evident from the international legal framework that's been established by Singapore Convention on Mediation to the procedural rules for mediation that has been adopted by different institutions. So I think the increasing significance is evident to us. So okay, coming back to ICSID and how has ICSID contributed to mediating investment dispute. We know ICSID mediation rules were adopted in 2022, very recently, and ICSID mediation rules provide for commencing ICSID mediation just by filing a mediation request. The mediation request can be filed if the disputing parties means investor and the host state, they sort of have consent to resolve the dispute through mediation. It is not necessary the consent should precede the filing of mediation request. In fact, you can take consent after filing the mediation request also. The consent can be provided in the form of a separate agreement, or it could be included in the treaty itself. If the consent is given in the bilateral treaty, then you have to again take consent from the investor, because treaty is between the countries, right? So investor has to give a consent. So once a consent is given, either through a prior arrangement or after the dispute had arisen, after the request for mediation is filed, whatever way, if the consent is taken, then the next stage is to appoint mediator or mediators. So there is a possibility of having two mediators also. So in case of two mediators, then each mediator will be appointed by each disputing party, and the disputing parties will make written submissions. Once the written submissions are made, then the mediator will explore the procedural framework for mediation known as mediation protocol, and then the parties will make opening statement, and then the mediators will explore options for resolving the dispute by looking at the parties' interest and parties' need, and they will assist in exploring different options for resolving the investment dispute. So that is what the mediator will do. So once if the parties have agreed to reach an amicable settlement for resolving dispute, then that will result in a settlement agreement. If a mediation results in a settlement agreement, then the mediation will terminate. What if there is no settlement reached? Even then the mediation will terminate. The interesting thing about ICSID mediation is that ICSID Secretariat will administer mediation for a state party or regional economic integration organization regarding an investment where there is a consent to settle the dispute through mediation, and there is no nationality requirement. When I say nationality requirement, there is no nationality requirement. What do I mean? The host state need not be a party to ICSID convention. So now, in fact, that's not just the nationality requirement that I'm talking about, because that is what we've seen in the context of ICSID convention, right? But we'd all discussed about ICSID convention in detail in 4th week of the course. I hope you do remember that. So in the 4th week of the course, we discussed for ICSID convention to be invoked, the case at the claim has to be filed by an investor who's a national of other contracting party, because ICSID convention, the name of the convention is Convention for the Settlement of Investment Disputes between states and nationals of other states, right? That requirement is not there. You can bring a ICSID mediation against your own state as well. So the investor can be a national of the host state as well. So that is how ICSID mediation rules differ from ICSID convention as well. So we do see that there are many flexibilities given in ICSID mediation rules. So biggest flexibility I would say is with regard to the nationality requirement, and the parties can also agree on the scope of disputes that will be resolved by mediation. They can either say all the disputes between them can be resolved through mediation, or some of the disputes can be resolved through mediation. So that's up to the parties, and since it's a completely voluntary process, the parties can also withdraw from mediation at any point of time. So this is a framework, a very brief framework or outline about what ICSID mediation is. And we can say since 2022, ICSID also envisages the possibility of mediating investment disputes. Only time will tell us if this is going to be a very successful method for resolving disputes, or is it going to be just one mechanism, just like ICSID conciliation proceedings are, right? So we'll wait and watch. With that, I conclude this particular fourth segment of lecture 56. In the next segment, we will very briefly look at UNCITRAL and its contribution for mediating investment disputes. Thank you.